Good morning, guys. As promised, I am going to show you how to do the broomstick lace stitch. And as you see, I have everything here set up. I do set mine up in a particular way. I'm working off of a game table that is a large square table that sits on the floor. My husband made this for us to use for gaming, and it works perfectly well for this project. Okay, so as you see right here, I have my broomstick, but it's just a dowel. That's all this is. My husband got this from Home Depot or Lowe's Hardware, I can't remember. And then what he did was just made a point on the end of that for me. Okay, and this is the size that your holes are going to be in your broomstick lace project. So if you want them smaller, you can use a smaller hook. There's many ways to do this project. I think it looks best made as an extreme crochet project. So in that term, I mean, if I can get this reset up, there we go. And that, what I mean by that is I like it to have the bigger holes. As you've seen in my broomstick lace bedspread or runner that I did. So it's up to you about the size hook you want to use. It's also based on your yarn. I'm going to use the same that I did with my runner the first time, and I'm going to use the Red Heart Treasure, Boutique Treasure with Red Heart. And this, I don't know how many of you actually seen this, but this was my first broomstick lace project. I am extremely proud of it. It changed colors beautifully. It has so many, what I consider to be faded colors. They're not bright, they're just kind of all ashy colors looking. So if you see here the size of the holes, these size holes were made using this, I'm going to address this as a hook. I know it's not, it looks more like a knitting needle, but I classify this as my broomstick lace hook. It doesn't actually go anywhere. This just sits here and it holds your work for you, and it makes the size of these holes. Now, if you want to use something smaller or even something bigger, that is going to be totally up to you. And so basically, this is it in a nutshell, guys. This is the broomstick lace. And I'm going to make the scarf today out of what I'm showing you. So I'm going to leave that back there. So this project is going to be for me. I'm actually going to use this for a scarf. And if you see the colors there, they're beautiful. They're a little darker than in my bed runner that I did. So basically what you want to do is you want to measure the size of the project that you want to make, and of course I'm going to make a scarf, so I'm probably going to aim for, I don't know, maybe, because I don't want it really thick, I'm going to probably make it maybe 8-9 inches wide. So, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, I put a couple hooks down here, I wasn't sure which size, but I'm probably going to make mine with a 4.25 millimeter hook. I don't want my holes here to be extremely large there. So, let's get started. Okay, guys, so the first thing you want to do is you're going to start off like you normally do, making a chain, a foundation row that is. And you're going to chain however many chains you need to make this the size you want. Like if you wanted to make the bed runner, my bed runner averaged about 16 inches. Okay, so you would chain until you have a 16-inch foundation chain. So I'm going to chain up until, and you don't want to do these stitches tight. Okay, you want to give them a relaxed feel to them. So you want to be loose with them. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chain until it reaches the length that I want my scarf to be. And like I said, I don't want it extra long, wide, not long, but reasonable. Okay, so there's what I have, and I think that's probably going to be close to the length that I want. Okay, so now once you get to that point, the next step that you're going to do, you're going to take the hoop that's on your hook already, and you're going to stretch that. You're going to come to the end of your hook, and you're going to place that hoop on your broomstick handle. Okay, and you do want to make it spacey right in there, okay, because you're going to have to work through there. Now you want to go to the next stitch available, if I can get you zoomed in a little bit here, and you're going to go in just like you normally would if you were doing a single crochet. Okay, you still want to get those under that hook there, and you want to grab your yarn and pull it through like you would, but then you're going to take that hoop and you're also going to place that on your broomstick. And if you want to match the spaceness there, you want to tighten that up just a tiny bit to match however you did your first one. Okay, then you're going to go down to the second one, and you're going to pull through and place on your broomstick. And basically this is it. You're going to do this all the way across until you're at the very end of your foundation chain here. Okay, so what I want you to do is go with that all the way down, and I will meet you back up once I'm all the way across. Welcome back. Now that I have all of my hoops applied to my hook, we're going to move to the next step. What you're going to do is grab your yarn from the back, and you want to make sure that this is all even, your foundation chain is down below, and your hoops are evenly spaced. Okay, so now what you're going to do is figure out if you're working in groups 4, 5, 6, 7. Like here on my example piece here, I worked in groups of 5. Okay, so that means that I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these to a group. I'm only going to do 4 to a group on this because I want it to be a little bit of a smaller design area for my scarf. So again, you need to also make sure that whatever amount of hoops that you decide to keep in a segment, that you have that exact many loops. So when you make your basic chain, make sure you have that many. So if you're going to work in groups of 5, make sure that you have the even amount of number to work in groups of 5 or 6 or 7, whatever you choose to do. So I made sure to have 4. So I'm going to have 4 to a group, and that's going to be 7 segments, which is going to give me 28 chains. So now what you're going to do is take your hook. You want to grab 4, or however many you choose to do in a group. You want to go under and then place your hook at the top, grab your yarn, pull it under, then you want to tie that off or fasten that off right here at the top where it's connecting here and it's holding it in place, and then do a chain 1. Then you want to pull that segment off only. You don't want to pull the rest of this off. Only the first segment that you're working with. Then you're going to do a chain 3, or not chain 3, but you're going to do 3 single crochet. But now if you're working with 5 to a group, you're going to do a different count, because you're going to be working in these hoops on the next row, so you got to make sure it's going to even 4 like it does here. So you want to make sure that you have the exact amount of hoops. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Because I have 4 here, and every line you go up, you want to make sure you have the same amount of lines to produce that same segment. Okay, so this is now done, so I'm going to drop that. Now you're going to go to the next one and grab the amount, which I'm grabbing 4 again. You're going to yarn over and pull through, then yarn over and pull through both of those hoops on your hook, and then you're going to chain 1. You're going to pull that part off. Okay, then I'm going to do a chain 3. Why do I keep saying chain 3? I'm going to do 3 single crochet. Okay, so that's going to give me a total of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 with the initial chain 1 that we did at the top. Okay, so now you're going to go and do the next section. So you're going to grab your 4, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both of those on your hook, Got to be real careful there. And then you're going to do a chain 1. Then you want to remove that from your hook and do the same process. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay? And then you'll just do that all the way across until you get to the end, and make sure that your stitch count is done correctly. And then you'll chain 1 here, and then pull it off, and you'll do your 3 single crochet. Okay, so do that all the way across your project, and I'll be right back with you guys. I have completed my 7 segments here. It's completely off the hook, and this is what you now have. Okay, so I have 4 strands in each one of my segment pieces, and they all have 3 double crochet or 3 single crochet plus the initial chain 1 we did. So now the next step, you're going to take the piece in your hand like this, and you're going to put your hoop right back on there. Okay, now you want to hold in your hand where you have your single crochets up in the air. You want to go into that next single crochet that you did, grab your yarn, pull through, and place that hoop on your hook. So pretty much it's going to be a repetitive process all the way through. Okay, and then you do the next one, and then the next one. You want to make sure that you have 4 hoops, because that's your pattern. You're going to have 4. Okay, now what you want to do is just do that all the way down. You want to make sure that you end up with however many you started with. If you didn't, that means you may have added too many stitches at some point. Okay, so you just want to keep going. And don't forget to leave you some room here. And you'll see that you'll get faster with this. You don't have to, but it does become habit forming. So it's not as much of a hassle, or it's not as complicated as a lot of people may think. So then you just keep pulling them through like you're doing a single crochet, but not really finishing it off. Okay, no fancy words here for you, just basic simple stuff. Okay, and as you see, I'm not going through the middle single crochet here, because that's your divider between your spaces, so you will not go through that one. Okay, so as you see right here where they divide at, where they divide at, like right here, you don't go through that space there. So you just want to make sure, and that's where I just did that one, you want to make sure that every segment you're putting 4 hoops. Okay, so you want to do that all the way across, and you may have to stop and turn and look at it, make sure you're getting the correct stitches. That's the only thing that is tedious about doing this. And make sure that you're going in the right stitch. Okay, then you'll just keep going all the way across. I'll meet you back up. Hey guys, we are back working on our second row. Now every time, when I first did this, you need to make sure that you count every time you put your hoops back on your hook, because if you don't have the correct amount of hoops on your hook, you have too less or too many, you can easily go back and correct that right now. But once you get started and you keep moving up, it's going to be a pain, and it will be frustrating to correct that. So again, you want to take your groups. I'm working in 4s, so you take and count your groups of 4s just like this, and make sure that all of your groups have the correct number of hoops. And then what you want to do again is you're going to go under the 4, you're going to grab your yarn, pull under, and single crochet. Okay, pull it off, make sure you have all your hoops in order, and then you want to do 3 single crochet. Okay, the next one, go under the next 4, yarn over, and then yarn over, pull through both of those hoops on your hook, and chain 1. pull that off, and single crochet 3 times. Or I'm sorry, 4 times is what we were doing. Or were we doing 3?
3.
Yeah, we were doing 3 because that one counts as the first one. Okay, so you can also slide these up. Grab your next 4 and yarn over and chain, pull through and through, chain and pull that off, and do 3 single crochet. Next group, you want to go under the next 4, wrap your hook, pull under, wrap your hook, pull through both, and single crochet. Pull that off and do 3 single crochet. Okay, and then you're just going to repeat this until you're at the end of your row again. And like I said, it looks a bit scary of a pattern, but it really isn't. It's very simple. The first time I did it, this is the project that I made, was my bed runner, and it went fairly quickly actually. And I've had a lot of comments, and people absolutely have loved it. And those of you that know you commented on it, I greatly appreciate that. So now I'm at the end. I pull that last one off to where your work is completely off your hook. And then you still do your chain, or your 3 single crochet. Okay? Now, there's what you have at your second row. And this is going to be the total width of your project. So whatever you're making, this is how wide it's going to be, and then it's just going to keep getting longer. So that's just pretty much the basics of your broomstick lace. And then at this point, you're just going to go back and do the same thing. You're just going to place your hoop on there, and then you're just going to pull through to your next ones, and you're going to simply do this all the way to the end. There's nothing rocket science about it. It's a very simple process once you get into it. And it's totally up to you also if you want to use this middle stitch. I do not. I like to have that little gap in there to separate right through here. So that means that this stitch right here, I do not go in. The one that's separating each of your segments, like I was telling you before, I do not go in that stitch. And it's accounted for in your amount of stitch content that I told you earlier. So the important thing is you want to match up. You want to make sure that these end up being, in my case, 4 loops that come out of each one of these segments each time that I do this process. Okay, so then you want to make sure that you have 4 hoops here, which are your 4 single crochet, and then you're going to have your middle one that divides them. Okay, and again, work with this. Do your own decision making when it comes to, you know, which stitches you want to allow as far as those middle ones. You can go up and use 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, however many you choose to use. Like I said, I used 5 on this because it was a bed runner. And as you see here, I didn't go in that middle space there either. So it's a fun stitch to do. It ends up being a beautiful pattern. And another thing when you do this, the self-changing yarns are most beautiful. And I'm not sure, because I haven't done it, if it's going to be an easy process if you choose to change your color on your own. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm not saying it can't be done, but personally I wouldn't recommend it. I just don't think it's the proper stitch to do your own change in color in. But like I say, that's what the art's about, is exploring and having fun with it. So it's totally up to you. So this was the broomstick lace, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do have any further questions about it, feel free to leave me a message in the box below the video, and I will do my best to help you with it. So make sure you like the video for me if you enjoyed it, and until my next video, guys, happy hooking, everybody.